Any public comments?
There were none.
No public comment.
You do, good to see you.
I would entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes.
I'd make that motion.
I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay. Next is the discussion items. Looks like that's all we've got here today. Discussion of the airport manager's report and monthly financials.
All right, I'll cover about half of the manager's report, the rest of that's kind of in some discussion items, so I'll leave that for that time. Basically cover the buildings and grounds. We have mowing operations have been in full force as they have been all summer. Zero-turn mower still having some issues with that. We did receive it back. All the hydraulic systems are wonderful and working as prescribed, but the starter went out on the second day back, so. Now we're back into work.
Sounds like an airplane.
Yeah, you know, it is. Bad as a helicopter. The runway 3-4 reels, if you notice in your manager's report, says they are out of service. Late Friday, we did get them fully back in service, and they are fixed. That was fixed under warranty from the manufacturer, ADB. They had worked on the light box, fixed everything that they hadn't fixed already, and just said this will work. And it has been so far. We've been keeping a close eye on it.
Good.
So it's back in service. NOTAMs have been canceled on that. And I also received and installed a new airport radio for the primary airport vehicle, our 2001 Chevy truck. Basically, the handheld radios work great on the airport, but they're line of sight. And so if I'm at one end of the runway and an aircraft is at the other end of the runway, we can't just talk next to each other because there's a crowning at the center of our runway. With this new radio, we're able to pick up all the way down to the other end of the runway.
So you got a whip antenna, basically?
Yep. Sits up about 5-6 feet in the air, and we're good to go. So shouldn't have any issues there, and the install was real easy. And just lastly, there's 2 flyers for you. One of them being the Guthrie Edmond Aviation Association putting on the annual Airport Day flying this year. Everything's planning and going along great. We'll have a planning meeting right after this meeting with the Aviation Association discussing some of that, getting close to the end, final planning areas. Have had great support from the local airport businesses and airport tenants wanting to bring their planes out along with other non-local aircraft wanting to fly in for it. So it should be just a fantastic event. Local bank, Oklahoma State Bank is getting ready to do the food like they did last year for it, and just getting a lot of great support. And then the other flyer is the Red Bull Air Races that'll be down in Dallas on the 6th and 7th of September. We're excited for that because 75% of the master class racer aircraft were built here by Zipco. And so that's it's kind of a local production that we love to tout and be proud of. And this will be the first time they'll be racing in Dallas, and then the next race after this in October will be in Las Vegas. So the next 2 races will be stateside, whereas most of the time they're overseas. So it's just a great opportunity if you're interested to get down close to some local talent. And that about covers the manager's report, except for all the projects that we're working on, along with the hangars, which we'll cover in a different area. Did anybody have any comments or questions about the financial reports?
Well, it's financially related, it's not the ongoing budget. It was the price list here.
We'll cover that in
Oh,
in the
okay.
action items. Yep,
Okay.
that's all just for later on. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's in my budget.
Yeah. There will, if you do notice, our buildings and grounds budget, it looks like we still have $23,000 in it that we haven't spent. Currently, we're working on doing crack and seal repairs on the asphalt, and that's gonna eat up a very large portion of that. So some of it is, we're getting close to the end of the year, fiscal year ends September 30th there, so we're getting close to that time frame, but we're working our projects down and hopefully have everything spent and allocated by that time.
And the pavement maintenance is 100% airport responsibility, and air owners participate 0.
Zero. Yes, sir. Unless it's there I guess, on their leased property, you know, if it's their.
18 inches?
Yeah, well, if, you know, some of them have where, from the hangar doors to the taxiway, that's responsibility of the hangar
Okay,
attendant.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a.
Whereas in your particular hangar, you're right up there on the
Right.
taxiway, so that would be
Some of them
taken
had
care
a
of.
10-foot strip or something.
Sure. All right.
Okay, if there's no questions on the financial, let's move to item 5.
Do we need to
Discussion.
move to accept this?
No, this is just discussion.
This
Okay.
is discussion item. Commercial development, hangar areas, and leases and so on.
The development area, hangar prospects, hangar and leases, hangar 23A, you've probably been able to see it out there, is under construction. They're getting iron in the air, that's Guardian Aerial Patrol. Really exciting to see that, their foundation's laid, and they're just going full force at it. And excited to get into that hangar, hopefully before Christmas. They've also been working with a couple other individuals about building an additional hangar in that area, possibly 1 or 2 lots, and they're currently under negotiations right now, trying to figure out how big the hangar they're gonna need. A lot of great prospects, been able to talk to 3 or 4 individuals who are wanting to build out there. I think, once they get this building up, it's gonna really help lead into more activity and more business in that area. There's been a lot of people interested, so. Nothing on paper yet, but we're getting closer, so.
Okay.
Now, I want to ask a question that a newbie would ask, and that is, the private hangars, eventually the owners, after a number of years, have reversed to airport property.
Yes,
Is that a similar arrangement on the commercial?
yes,
It is?
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Same number of years?
Different number of years because the price in that hangar area, we've had to up the years a little bit to justify the cost. Those hangar buildings are gonna be anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000 for one building. So the years that have been allocated for it have been a 30-year lease with 2 10-year options, where normally they would just get one. And so, and then also it's trying to attract businesses out here.
Sure. And it helps when they finance the building.
Finance the building, they're running on a 50-year note rather than a 40-year lease option.
Okay, I think you covered 6 also.
Well, with the airport construction projects and updates, and upcoming projects, I'm just gonna run through the current and future projects here real quick, give you an idea of where we're at. The Northwest Development Area Hangar Project, Taxiway Charlie, and the Pappy project are all our fiscal year 2012 FAA OAC projects. Those are the ones that are funded with grants. The one that we've been working on for 2 years and just getting finished. The hope is that by next week, we'll be running the punch list on it and finishing up all the construction work and opening it up. Then we'll be working on closing out all the grant paperwork and getting with OAC and FAA on final approvals. But that project is quickly coming to a close, and I hope that the next meeting will be reported everything's finished and wrapped up there. The next projects on our list would be, let's see, in the airport manager's report, if you need notes and follow along, it'll be the 4th project down. We're doing the runway and taxiway, second one down, paving and maintenance and parking lot. That one, we've asked the company that's out there working on the construction project right now. They've agreed for a fee to be able to do a maintenance parking lot out here that we had discussed and you guys approved last meeting. With the importance being placed on the current project and getting that finished up, we haven't been able to do the parking lot yet. And the hope is that we'll be able to do that this next week in the final completion of that project, while they're just doing the punch list items, grading and putting down sod. Hopefully by the next one, I'll also be able to report that's finished.
This is new paving to the right as you come in?
This, yep, where we have the dirt road that goes around the back side of the hangar, that'll be halfway paved, and then inside that, maintenance area will be paved just for parking all our cars and equipment for staff. The 2 state projects that we have are the omnidirectional approach lighting and runway and taxiway rehabilitation. The omnidirectional approach lighting, or the ODLs, is well underway. I have a meeting next week with the engineering firm that's gonna be doing the plans for that. We'll be meeting to discuss just kind of final plans of where the electric power is gonna get pulled from. We've used one side of the airport rather than the other due to ease of access and what we already have available as far as hookups. With that, That's gonna be our easy project for the summer. They're saying the runway is probably gonna be shut down for 4 months. It shouldn't be an issue. Our major problem and concern right now is the runway and taxiway rehabilitation. Talking with OAC, they have stated very surely that they will not be approving any displaced thresholds or use of taxiways for takeoff. We're still talking with them and trying to see if they can help us out with trying to get something along those lines. Worst case scenario, we're probably gonna be 2 months shut down on the runway. Best case would probably be 30 days. If we can do a displaced threshold, we might be able to only have to be shut down for 3 weeks, you know, with a 3,000 foot displaced threshold on either side. We just rotate them as we do the ends. But there is a good section in the middle that's gonna need to be replaced because we got longitudinal cracking going down probably 1,000 feet of the runway and in one panel line. So that the east side panel for about 1,000 feet will have to probably be replaced. It's not a fun one to do.
Using the taxiway is a long shot.
Very long shot, absolutely.
Legally.
Yeah, legally. I guess we could say that, just say, we say no, the state says no, and the FAA says no, and whatever you do, as long as you don't get reported to the FAA, but I don't think that's a good option.
No.
It's just a legal nightmare. And that's why we'd like to go with the displaced threshold, because there are, it's approvals there that says you can use this as a runway, it's just shortened and set in stone.
Do you need board action to sign off on any requests?
We're working right now with OAC, but they pretty much said no. So what we may have to do in the next meeting, and once we get their final ruling, because we haven't had actual engineer plans show up yet to show how much time is actually needed. Once we get those plans, we'll bring it before the board and see what we can do, and we can try writing a letter and discussing with OAC what our options are. At this point, they're pretty much saying we're lucky to get the grant. We need the pavement redone, which is true, and we need painting. And unfortunately, that without permissions to do a displaced threshold, we're kind of stuck within their time frame.
Do you have engineering reports giving us the number of yards of concrete that need to be replaced?
Nothing's been sent in yet. So
How thick are we out there?
out there,
12 inches?
I would imagine anywhere from 8 to 16 inches. Yeah. So we'd have to get all those reports and get it